Today, we are going to discuss the introduction to biochemistry, which is one of the most important foundations of biological science. Before we begin, let me ask you a simple question. Have you ever wondered what happens inside your body when you eat food, breathe air, or move your muscles? Every second, millions of chemical reactions are taking place inside your body. These reactions help your body grow, produce energy, repair tissues, and maintain life. The science that studies these chemical reactions inside living organisms is called biochemistry. Biochemistry helps us understand life at the molecular level. It explains how cells function, how energy is produced, and how biological molecules interact with each other. Without biochemistry, it would be impossible to understand many processes such as digestion, metabolism, DNA replication, and enzyme activity. In today's lecture, we will cover the definition of biochemistry, the history of biochemistry, the importance of biochemistry, the relationship of biochemistry with other sciences, and the major biomolecules of life. By the end of this lecture, you will clearly understand why biochemistry is called the chemistry of life. Definition of biochemistry, 5 minutes. Biochemistry is the branch of science that studies the chemical composition of living organisms and the chemical reactions that occur within them. It is a combination of two important sciences, biology and chemistry. Biology studies living organisms, while chemistry studies matter and chemical reactions. When these two fields combine, they form biochemistry, which focuses on the chemistry of living systems. Biochemistry mainly studies the molecules that are essential for life. These molecules include carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, and nucleic acids. These molecules are known as biomolecules. For example, when we eat food, our body breaks it down into smaller molecules such as glucose, amino acids, and fatty acids. These molecules are then used by the body to produce energy, build tissues, and regulate biological processes. Biochemistry explains how these molecules are formed, how they interact, and how they're used inside the body. In simple words, biochemistry explains the chemical basis of life. History of biochemistry, 6 to 7 minutes. The development of biochemistry took place gradually over many years. In ancient times, people did not know that life processes were controlled by chemical reactions. They believed that living organisms were controlled by a mysterious force called vital force. This idea was known as the vitalism theory. According to this theory, organic compounds could only be produced by living organisms. However, this theory was challenged in the year 1828 by a German scientist named Friedrich Wöhler. Wöhler successfully synthesized urea, an organic compound found in urine, from an inorganic substance called ammonium cyanate. This experiment proved that organic compounds could be created in the laboratory without any living organism. This discovery marked the beginning of modern biochemistry. Later, many scientists made important contributions to this field. For example, Louis Pasteur studied fermentation and showed that microorganisms are responsible for fermentation processes. Edward Buchner later discovered that fermentation could occur even without living cells, due to enzymes. Another important discovery was made by James Watson and Francis Crick in 1953 when they described the double helix structure of DNA. This discovery helped scientists understand how genetic information is stored and transmitted in living organisms. Over time, biochemistry developed into a major scientific discipline that explains life processes at the molecular level. Importance of biochemistry, 6 to 7 minutes. Biochemistry plays a very important role in many fields of science and daily life. First, biochemistry helps us understand how the human body works. For example, it explains how food is digested, how nutrients are absorbed, and how energy is produced in our cells. Second, biochemistry is very important in medicine. Doctors use biochemical knowledge to understand diseases such as diabetes, cancer, and genetic disorders. For example, diabetes occurs when the body cannot properly regulate glucose due to problems with the hormone insulin. Third, biochemistry is important in nutrition. It helps us understand the role of vitamins, minerals, proteins, carbohydrates, and fats in maintaining health. Fourth, biochemistry is used in agriculture. Scientists use biochemical knowledge to improve crop production, increase resistance to diseases, and develop better fertilizers. Fifth, biochemistry plays a role in biotechnology. Biotechnology uses biological systems to develop useful products, such as medicines, vaccines, and genetically modified crops. Therefore, biochemistry has a major impact on healthcare, agriculture, industry, and environmental science. Relationship of biochemistry with other sciences, 5 to 6 minutes. Biochemistry is closely related to many other scientific fields. One of the most important relationships is with molecular biology. Molecular biology focuses on how genetic information is stored and expressed in cells. Biochemistry helps explain the chemical processes behind DNA replication, RNA transcription, and protein synthesis. Biochemistry is also related to genetics. Genetics studies heredity and how traits are passed from parents to offspring. Biochemistry explains how genes produce proteins and how these proteins control biological functions. Another related field is physiology. Physiology studies how organs and systems function in living organisms. Biochemistry explains the chemical reactions that allow these functions to occur. Biochemistry is also connected to pharmacology, which studies how drugs interact with the body. Many drugs work by affecting enzymes or biochemical pathways inside cells. Therefore, biochemistry acts as a bridge connecting many areas of life sciences. Major biomolecules, 7 to 8 minutes. All living organisms are made up of 4 major types of biomolecules. These biomolecules are essential for life and perform many important functions. The first group is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the main source of energy for the body. Examples include glucose, starch, and cellulose. The second group is proteins. Proteins perform many functions such as building body tissues, acting as enzymes, transporting molecules, and regulating biological processes. Proteins are made up of smaller units called amino acids. The third group is lipids, also known as fats. Lipids store energy, form cell membranes, and help in insulation and protection of organs. Examples include fats, oils, and cholesterol. The fourth group is nucleic acids. Nucleic acids include DNA and RNA, which store and transmit genetic information. DNA contains the instructions that control the growth, development, and functioning of all living organisms. These 4 biomolecules work together to maintain life. Conclusion, 2 to 3 minutes. To conclude, biochemistry is the study of the chemical processes that occur in living organisms. It helps us understand how biological molecules interact and how life functions at the molecular level. We discussed the definition of biochemistry, its historical development, its importance in different fields, its relationship with other sciences, and the major biomolecules. Biochemistry is essential for understanding health, disease, nutrition, genetics, and biotechnology. In simple words, biochemistry explains the chemistry behind life itself. Understanding biochemistry helps us explore the mysteries of life and develop new solutions for medical, agricultural, and environmental challenges. Thank you.